Welcome back to Jamin's Daily, episode number 8. We have our guest today, Ashley Nicole Pena from San Antonio, Texas. How you doing today, Ashley?
Hey, I'm doing well. I was checking to see if I was unmuted. Sorry.
You are unmuted. We can hear you.
Hey, I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining me on Jamin's Daily. We're going to move along, folks at home, with our topics. I know that's why you join in every day to listen to these the juicy details of the current events. So we're going to continue where we kind of left off on previous podcasts when it comes to Ellen DeGeneres. The controversy continues, and there's some new updates to the saga, Ashley. So had you heard a little bit about Ellen getting into some trouble?
So to be honest, I didn't. Not really in tune with the media, but I did look up, I did see some things yesterday, saw that she's been apologizing for a few items, but which was a surprise to me because everybody looks at Ellen, that's where we find hope. That's where we find some happiness. We seek her for that, just to not take yourself too seriously. That's what we find in Ellen.
Her brand is about kindness and being the glasses half full kind of. That's her whole brand. And all that has kind of come crumbling down recently via some accusations and some reporting that's been going on. So the quick catch up. Bunch of the staff that works on this show is accusing it of being a toxic environment. Okay. And that Ellen knew all about this. And then her producers were hell to work for. So she just recently fired 3 of her executive producers. In addition to that, she is giving all the workers these new fringe benefits, trying to make up for it, which is a good idea. Whenever people at home, when you make a mistake, making up for it is a good idea sometimes. Sorry only goes so far, don't you think, Ashley?
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know exactly because I'm not there. I didn't work for her, but is it really trying to take care of your people? Is it bribing them? What is it? It's just a thought that kind of comes up because now she's in this huge dilemma. What if more people come out, but by giving them something, just because it seems like it's pretty still fresh, it's still early on before even more people start reporting. So that's where my mind is. Of course, I'm the type of person who likes to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. Especially Ellen, right? Why not?
Ellen really, it's amazing how nobody's safe. Nobody's safe from like cancel culture, getting in trouble, and they try to cancel you. No one's safe. If Ellen isn't safe, nobody's safe. And, I just can't relate, I guess, because I've never been in a toxic work environment, I don't think. So it's hard for me to really, I can sympathize, but it's hard for me to empathize with these workers on Ellen's show, because when they talk about a toxic work environment, and they gave some examples, Ashley, some of these examples of sexual impropriety were pretty vulgar. I could see there's a problem there. But then when you say toxic work environment, it's hard for me. Hopefully most of the folks at home too, I'm sure a lot of people work in toxic environments. I don't, but that was a hard thing for me. I'm thinking, how can you put toxic environment and Ellen in the same sentence? It was hard for me to do.
I'm thinking, and so if a lot of this is being directed at the executive producers, I'm thinking micromanaging, just making it a hostile work environment where the expectations are unreal, turnaround on deadlines. And then, I personally, even with my business and with people I do business with, if something doesn't get done, it's going to be okay. We're going to find a resolution. And with, some businesses, they don't see things that way. It's this or it's nothing. And so That's, from my
Oh,
experience.
you're right on. I mean, there's a fine line between being demanding, having high expectations. This is the Ellen Show. These are producers at the highest level of daytime TV, and I can see where they're not exactly when they're up here, and so they're upper management. So they have all these little people, not the little people, but they have all these people working for them, and they may not always be the nicest to them. They may not always say please. Sometimes they're barking orders, and so some people don't react well to that. But this is the one thing of these accusations that came out, which I've heard before with other celebrities, but mainly like divas, like Mariah Carey, someone like that. But Ellen apparently had a no eye contact rule. Okay, like she didn't want, again, the lowly assistant sound producer wasn't allowed to like look Ellen in the eyes, right? And I had heard these kinds of crazy requests before from celebrities, but again, I never thought that to be Ellen. Is it okay? How do you feel when people look at you in your eyes?
I feel like that's a cultural thing, to be honest. In other cultures, it's disrespect. I don't find that very common here in America. Where
sure, it's like, are we dogs or something? You don't want to look at the dogs and we're gonna get mad at each other.
In some cultures, it's disrespect, but that's not common here in America, where it shows respect. When you look at somebody in their eyes, it shows that you're paying attention to them, that you're giving them your undivided attention,
I completely agree. How can you not? Can you imagine if you're coming into a room and before you go into the room, some person comes up to you and says, Ashley, so-and-so's in this room and he doesn't like it when you look at him. So don't look at him. How bizarre. I would feel so strange going into that room and having to avoid eye contact with somebody. It just seems beyond the pale. Like, I don't believe it. I don't believe Ellen was that way. And she's denied it. She's flatly denied it, saying this is not true. That didn't happen. So I'm kind of like Team Ellen when it comes to this situation. So, at least for now. We'll see. I can change. Right. But moving along into some other celebrity news. These are other, I would say Ellen's A-list celebrity. Yeah. These two, B minus celebrities, but you may have heard of them, folks at home. This guy, Greg. No. That's his last name. That's Clark Gregg. He's got two first names, Ashley. He's got two first names.
Greg Clark.
Greg Clark.
Clark
of
Greg.
Marvel's. This guy was on Marvel's Avengers. I don't know which character he played because I haven't seen those movies. But he was married to Jennifer Grey of Dirty Dancing fame, Baby, right? Baby. They were married for 19 years, since 2001, and they're getting divorced.
I saw that. They even did a little post together with their picture together and making sure everybody knew that they were crying when they posted it. Sorry, that's what caught my attention.
Yeah, that's kind of cheesy. I've seen some of these dual Facebook posts when it comes to these split ups and things like that. I just feel like it's very cringeworthy. I don't want to. There's no good way to do that. Yeah. You just too much TMI.
Yeah. I think when you're living in the public eye, you feel that you have to, and I think it's good. I think it's good that they hear it from, that the public hears it from you first, and they want to give that to their fans, which I respect. I respect that entirely. But it's the last, just letting you know we're both crying right now. Yeah. I mean, what part of 19 years together can't?
Sure. Yeah. No one's gonna think.
Difficult.
You put it really greatly earlier, Ashley, is like giving people the benefit of the doubt. I don't know these people. They getting divorced, so be it. I'm not there to judge. We're here to talk about how corny it is that you put it on Facebook. But you made a good point too. Nowadays, in 2020, many years ago, divorcing celebrities really, they were kind of powerless in terms of like the gossip mags. So they're getting divorced, and all of a sudden you're at the grocery store, and there's all these gossip mags of them divorcing, and all the speculation and reasons why they're divorcing. But now, because of social media, like you said, they can put it out there first, get their story out there on what's going on. And so maybe I shouldn't be so critical, Jamin. Be nicer. No. Jennifer Grey. So baby. So she's the wife, soon to be ex-wife. And I was looking at a photo of her. So, Jennifer Grey, Dirty Dancing, she had an attractive lady, and she was known on that, obviously that's what she's most known for, Dirty Dancing. And she had a little bit of a bridge on her nose. Still very attractive. And then she had a nose job soon after, and she became completely unrecognizable.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
No, I agree. I feel like she did something else, and I don't know what it is. Maybe her lips, something here. I don't know. But yeah, you don't recognize her from Dirty Dancing.
She doesn't. It completely changed her whole appearance. I've seen her on some Lifetime movies, folks at home. I didn't watch it. Just kind of like skimming through. It's like, right. Let's watch the Christmas and winter. They start showing Christmas specials on the Lifetime channel.
I don't watch Lifetime movies, Jamin. I'm sorry.
I do. I can't. Well, the wife would watch it, and I would watch it. It's like I watch Say Yes to the Dress.
Yes.
I watch a lot of that and a bunch of other stuff. 90 Day Fiance. We could talk about that. I could talk to you about 90 Day Fiance all day.
No.
That one's on TLC, 90 Day Fiance. You don't know what you're missing, Ashley. Check it out.
No.
We're going to take our first break. All right? We're going to take our first break. Before we take our break, I do want to give a shout out to our today's in our episode sponsor, which is Sage Choice Insurance Agency. You can reach them at 361-400-2411. You can ask for Jamin. Again, we do homeowners, auto insurance. We're always looking, Ashley, for great referral partners, realtors, loan originators. Give us a call, 361-400-2411. When we get back from the break, we're going to talk about Britney Spears. She's trying to get her freedom back. Okay. She's trying to, she had been kind of mentally unstable for a little bit, and people had to come in to help. Trying to change it up. When we get back, we will get into the juicy details. Welcome back to Jamin's Daily. We're back from the break with our guest, Ashley Nicole Pena, realtor extraordinaire from San Antonio, Texas. And we're going to get into Britney Spears. So she's back in the news. Back in the day, folks, Britney Spears was going through some trouble. And she had all this fame, and she made a series of peculiar decisions in her life.
Well, let's talk about how great she was, though, too. I mean, she had all the number ones. She was dating Justin. They were both rocking it. They were both on top of the world. At that, they were only, 18, 17? And I feel like they had it all. Imagine that, having it all at 17. Then what?
It was obviously too much for her, because I think she's been clinically diagnosed with some kind of disorder, and good mental health, folks at home. It's a serious situation, so we give it the serious attention it deserves. But because of again, like you said, all the pressure of being uber famous, uber successful, she had a rough patch in which her own finances and even health decisions, everything was put into a conservator. Like, I don't know if I'm saying this right, folks. A conservatorship. Is that how it goes, Ashley? Conservatorship.
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 That's the teacher me.
Thank you. Conservatorship, in which her dad was the conservator, taking care of all these situations. And he along with an attorney, so these two people, well, that had been going really well. Hadn't heard anything. But then until recently, the other person, the attorney, resigned, which left her dad as the sole person in charge. And so now she doesn't like that situation. So she's like fighting the court. And it says here on the interwebs, folks at home, that Britney Spears asked a judge on court this past Tuesday to keep her father from reasserting the broad control over her life and career that he has had for the better part of 12 years. The dad is also having some health issues. So I think the broader issue is is she capable of taking it over herself? One. And then two, the dad's been doing a good job, but he's getting old and having health issues. So then everybody's suspicious of the person. Who do you put in charge if it's not the dad?
So I want to say, I believe I read that she is okay with a conservatorship. However, just transferring that conservatorship over to somebody else. And I wasn't sure who that person was, but I believe I read that she's okay with the conservatorship, which is good, right? I mean, I guess she wants to maintain, she knows that she can't handle it all on her own, perhaps, but transferring it to somebody else, I don't know.
It was a lady. Spears says she wants Jody Montgomery, who has been serving as a conservator of her person. So there's a conservator of, I guess, finances or something else. This lady is a conservator of her person temporarily, and to do so permanently, but she says that doesn't mean she is waiving her right. So she's saying Britney is she's not waiving her right to seek an end to the entire arrangement. So we'll see what happens. But the judge, I believe Spears will be under full conservatorship for 6 more months. And this is as of 10 a.m. today. So this.
And how old is she now? She's what?
38.
38. Now imagine that. Remember, at the top at 17 and being in the magnifying glass of the public, of the world for 20 years, having your life criticized, judged, analyzed through everything you go through. I feel so bad for her. I mean, everybody.
Yeah, it's a common story. It's not, we're not singling her out.
No.
We just need something to talk about, folks at home. Britney Spears. But it's a common story, unfortunately, for celebrities in general, especially young folks, people who become famous very young, having terrible outcomes in terms of their personal lives later on, right? Or they go broke. They they go bankrupt. They spend all the money. All kinds of problems. Yeah. And she kind of went through them, but then they rightened the ship fairly quickly. The dad's been doing a good job. I think he's been commended on a couple times for not like robbing her blind. That's always the concern. Like, we're just taking care of all this is going to poke them in the eyes and take all the money. If you can't trust your dad, that's the other thing. Who do you trust? So the dad's done well enough. You can't trust your dad. Who can you trust? Folks at home, you let me know. If you know somebody else who's trustworthy, I know Ashley is trustworthy. Okay? I'm trustworthy too. And you can reach me at jamansdaily@gmail.com. Send us, if you have any other ideas on who would be a good conservator for Britney Spears, send me an email, jamansdaily@gmail.com. Moving on. moving on to some hard-hitting news, Ashley. Aunt Becky
Oh
is
dear.
going to jail today. Well, she probably won't go.
Wait, she is going to jail? Okay, so this one I'm really, yeah. Okay, life's been crazy. Life's been busy. I don't know if y'all know, but I've been quarantining in this pandemic that hit 2020. I'm just kidding. But
Really, just you?
just
Really?
me. But so like I said, I'm not fully in tune with social media, but I know she got into a little bit of trouble for kind of using her,
Money.
yeah, just, it is
Basically
what it is.
money.
Yeah, using her money to get her kids into college. I mean, the wrong way.
The wrong way. So yeah,
The wrong way.
a couple of things on that. So yes, folks, to catch up, college, I think they called it the college admission scandal. Many celebrities and other well-heeled individuals were able to bribe. They found this one individual who was like the main guy who was able to get these people in somehow. And it was all fraudulent. They made up different kinds of stories. And so they all got busted. The Aunt Becky, whose real name is Lori Laughlin, and her husband, Massimo Giannulli. He's like a fashion designer. So they got all kinds of money. They deny it the whole time. Okay? They're like, we're going to go to court. They're fighting it. Well, somebody must have told them that the federal government wins 99% of their cases. So might not be a good idea. So they agreed to a plea agreement. They both pled guilty to conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud. And they are being sentenced today, this afternoon. They're getting sentenced. And as part of the deal, home confinement is out of the question. They will have to go to prison. And the recommendation right now, Ashley, is for Lori, Aunt Becky, to serve 2 months in prison. And for her husband, Massimo, will do 5 months. Why is the guy going to jail? I thought this was 2020 equality. We're equal. Why is the guy going to jail for 5 months?
Except.
Hey, we got to figure that one out. Oh, you know why? It says here he pleaded guilty to some other additional charge of, here it is. He also pled guilty to an additional charge of honest services wire and mail fraud. So it's an additional wire and mail fraud charge. So he's going for 5 months. But here's the deal, Ashley. Let me ask you this. So here these parents are guilty of loving their children too much, okay? And so they're like, we're going to send you to the best college, even if I have to pay for it and bribe people. I can recall many years ago trying to get into college myself. My parents encouraged me to go to college, but that's about as far as their help went in terms of like actually making sure I went. You know, they helped me once I was there financially. They helped me pay for things like that of sorts. But in terms of like filling out the applications, sending it to people, following up, I did that all by myself. I can't imagine a parent doing it for their kids. Was that the same? Was it similar for you?
That was pretty similar for me. I had to, I'm first generation graduate, so my parents did not go to college at all. They had no idea about that world. So I really had to navigate through that all by myself. It was scary, but we have to figure it out if that's what we want for ourselves. You know, we have to evaluate what we want for ourselves.
It's great that you mentioned that. Let me see. We're doing a podcast, folks. The phone just rang.
My voicemail.
It's all right. I sent it to voicemail because y'all are, Ashley and folks at home, you're much more important to me. But you mentioned it, how you did something for yourself because this is what you want to do. So you figured it out. Mm-hmm. And what we found out in this college, the celebrity college admission scandal, was that many of these kids didn't even want to go to school. Didn't even care to get into some of these schools. It was the parents who were the driving forces in this fraud to get their kids into these schools. So what's up with that? Here we are talking about our experience where we did it ourselves because we wanted to go. Parents, very little help. And then the celebrities, the complete opposite. The kids could care less, and it's the parents who are doing everything to make sure they go.
Yeah, I think at that point, it's kind of more done for what others think of me. I mean, again, they're in the public eye, everything they do, and then even down to their kids are a reflection of them. Status. It's a status thing. And
certainly. So if their kids don't get into the best school, it's a reflection. They don't get to tell their friends. The parents don't get to tell their friends that my kid is going to Harvard or my kid's going to USC. They don't want to say, oh, my kid's going to Del Mar College. All right. Which is fine, folks. I went to Del Mar.
I went to Del Mar.
Colleges all around the country. No shame. You don't need to go to
A&M Corpus. Sorry.
A&M Corpus Christi. I'm a, what is it?
Islander.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Islander. But yeah, I think I feel to a point, I don't know, I'm kind of conflicted. You want to leave it up to the kids. Is this what you want to do? But again, it's not, you don't have that conversation at their, in their senior year. That's something that these are values you should be discussing all along up until they graduate. Right now, I have my 4-year-old. I know that you are on my social media, so I don't know if you've seen. We do talk about college. He knows about college. And so even since his first birthday, he's been saving for college because I need him to know that all of his life, he's been investing in college. So even at a young age of 4, these are conversations that aren't going to be new to him his senior year. He's already invested. He's already saved up money. He'll have money to go when he gets there. And then, of course, we'll help him along the way if that is something he chooses to do. So we'll be talking about it. We'll be talking about the importance of it. At that time, if that's something he chooses to do because that's what's going to help him be successful, then that's there for him already. If he wants to
but
go
what happens, Ashley, if, in the next 14 years, which I know it's bound to happen, you become, mega agent selling left and right, and you got so much money, you're going to bribe your kid anywhere he wants to go. You're going to pay for it. Let's on the devil's advocate, I'm going to try to put my shoes. I'm going to put my feet in Lori Loughlin, Aunt Becky's shoes. And money's no object. And her kids, that's the other thing about this situation, is that her girls were they wanted to be social media stars or YouTube personalities. They really had no interest in going to college to study anything in particular. But I'm one of these parents. You said you're doing a great job. You're setting an example at a young age of, education is important. And so things that are important, you plan for.
Yes.
You're doing that. Very likely, Lori Loughlin wasn't talking to her daughters about going to college. The daughters basically say they knew nothing about this. Mom did it all by herself. And so I'm thinking, because, would you agree when Lori Loughlin, when Aunt Becky got busted about, months ago, they kind of threw her under the bus. It kind of felt like every photo they would show of her was that same photo where she's coming out of a car and she's got this ugly scowl on her face. That was the only photo they would use of her on the internet. The most the weirdest pose to make her look silly. And so I kind of felt, sometimes I kind of felt bad for her. She did wrong. I was watching, have you watched the reboot of Fuller House? on
No.
Netflix.
I like originals. I love Aunt Becky as Aunt Becky.
And Becky, well, she was on that show, and it's
I,
not terrible.
mm-hmm.
Again, I have to watch all these things. I have little kids, and it's too hot outside, so we're watching Netflix. So we're watching Fuller House.
Mm-hmm.
It's not terrible. It's not as good as the original, but she was on the show often enough.
Right.
And then she was just gone. She was just gone. She just got canceled.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. We'll find out. She should go to jail for a little bit. For these people, imagine nobody wants to go to jail for a day, much less 2 months.
Right.
And she's going to go to jail. So on the next episode, folks at home, we'll do a recap. We'll talk about Aunt Becky, how much time she's doing in the slammer.
And I think she, just like Ellen, we see hope. We were able to connect and see something good in these people. And so it is heartbreaking. And perhaps, that's where scandal comes in and people just eat that up. When these people who can do no wrong make a mistake or get caught up.
And that show, remember in the original Full House, there were all these times when DJ would go to Aunt Becky for advice. So that Aunt Becky was like that. They always had those TV moments where she was the voice of reason. Mm-hmm. And then look, right? That's funny. We're going to take one last break. When we get back, folks at home, we're going to take a deep dive into the business profession of real estate, in which Ashley is an expert. She's going to tell us a couple things. Going to ask her some questions, can tell us about herself. And before we do that, again, this quick shout out to our sponsor, Sage Choice Insurance. You can give them a call at 361-400-2411. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back, folks. From the break, we're going to finish our last segment looking into and talking with Ashley Nicole Pena from San Antonio, Texas. Quick bio, folks at home. We went to school together here, high school in Corpus Christi, Texas. But then she left to go to the big city of San Antonio, and she's been in real estate since. So why don't you kind of give us a little bit of the backstory to that, Ashley?
So yes, I am from Corpus Christi, hometown of Selena. Everybody always connects it with Selena.
Selena.
Yeah. Did you know Selena? No, I didn't. But anywho, went to school in Corpus, A&M Corpus Christi, where I got my bachelor's and master's in education. Pursued education. I actually taught there in Corpus before moving to San Antonio. Taught here in San Antonio. Elementary level, 4th grade was really my big. That's what I did. 4th grade.
I have fond memories of the 4th grade.
I taught kinder 1 year. That's all it took. I was like, 4th grade. I'm going to stay with 4th grade. And then I was a math specialist up here. So I got to help teachers and students with the math curriculum. But in 2000, so I moved up here 2010. I've been in real estate since 2018. So I was doing both for a little bit. And I actually resigned from education in September 2019. So I just resigned from education. But I've been doing real estate since 2018 and have been loving it ever since.
Real estate's one of those things that people kind of sometimes what's the word? You don't have to dive in. People kind of gradually get in. It's a great profession in which you can have your day job and then kind of gradually, get into, and with the goal of, I'm sure a lot of people of that then becoming your full-time job, which it appears it did, because, leaving the teacher's field, the education, we all can all agree teachers don't get paid enough, but it is, job security, and there's benefits, teacher retirement and health insurance and things like that. So it's not like it's some, throwaway job. So in order to leave that, you obviously must have been doing well in real estate.
I did. I got to the point to where, I mean, I just couldn't do both. I couldn't, um, I have to give my all in education, but I have to give my all to my clients. I have to be able to, write up a contract, within the hour because you're in a multiple offer situation. It's a bidding war. So time is of the essence. You need to get that in. I just had to, something had to give. And then I had to be there for my family because I can't just be educator and real estate, realtor. I'm also a mom. I'm also a wife. And
Sure.
so,
It'd be hard to work on a contract while you're grading papers, and then there's laundry to do, all these different things. So you got to make your life easy sometimes, make it simpler for yourself.
mhm.
So, I was in education myself too. So I remember grading papers. I remember doing some things that took your time. And I'm a big believer in, it's hard to do. If you do something, I think I can get away with, you can't do something half-ass. Okay. If you
Right.
do it half-ass, you're going to get half-ass results. Right. And so they say, if you're going to be a teacher, you want to be the best teacher. You need your full attention on teaching. If you're going to be successful in real estate, you need to have your full attention on the real estate.
Absolutely.
And so since your full attention has been on the real estate, what are some of, can you go over maybe a highlight or, maybe a milestone, since you've been in real estate? Can you remember me? Was it that first big listing that you got, or maybe that first sale? Or it didn't have to be the first, but a particular sale that, when was that? Have you had that I arrived moment, like I can do this?
Um, um, oh my gosh.
Was that the day you quit? Was that the day you sent your email that says
You know
I
what?
quit?
I think so. You know what? I really do. Because it was a leap of faith for sure, but I want to say that I know what it was. So in education, okay, I was pregnant. I had my second son February 2019. Okay, so I was on maternity leave, and during that maternity leave, I don't know what was going on, but I wasn't getting paid. We don't have paid maternity leave. You had to make sure you applied for disability, and then even then, it was only going to be so much of your regular pay. Like you don't survive off of that. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yes.
So I had my real estate. What I had already been doing, what I had already made with real estate, plus my husband. I knew I didn't need my teacher's salary. I knew I didn't need it. There was something going on with the pay. I don't remember, but I didn't have it. And so not having it showed me I was okay without it. And I think that was what clicked. I don't need this.
And that's a big. You said a leap of faith is a great way to put it, because for a lot of realtors, especially those who are leaving a more a professional, stable job,
Mm-hmm.
is you have that paycheck that you can count on
Mm-hmm.
every 2 weeks or every month or something. Whereas when you get into sales, if you don't produce, you don't eat. If you don't produce, you're not going to get paid. And so there's that level of perhaps anxiety that you kind of have to take that on at some point. And it sounds like it when you were looking at your finances and you hadn't gotten paid, you're like, you know what, I can do this. At that point, you're willing to say, you know what, I can make the money making the sales. I don't need this other job. And you went for it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is just being true to my values, staying focused, and then playing within the lines. Just kind of, if you are true to what you do and you're doing it with integrity, you're doing it with all your heart, I trust you'll be okay.
Yeah, things will work out.
Things will always work out. And as long as we have that mentality and that faith, then it will. We can't, you're right. We don't know when the next deal is. When's the next deal? I don't know, And
Sure.
then now everybody's going back to work. Teachers are going back to work. Are they going to be looking at houses? With this fall, with COVID, we thought the market was going to be completely dry. Thank goodness, it really it was booming. It was a booming summer. It's still pretty busy,
Yeah,
but
that's good to
yeah,
know.
but
Yeah, I was going to ask. That was a question here in the, every market is different, but
mhm.
I would say in general, the Texas market, like you're saying, we could have seen some kind, and same thing for my business in insurance. There hasn't been this dramatic slowdown of epic proportions like maybe some other industries have suffered. So I'm glad to hear that you're still busy and there's people out there. They've done rates I believe are super low right now. So is there a lot of inventory? Are there a lot of house when you find a client who wants to look at a house? Is there a lot of inventory in particular? Price ranges? Are there more houses in particular price ranges than others?
So as far as the inventory, there isn't a lot of inventory. The selections, I mean, you're not overwhelmed with which house, as a buyer, which
Mhm.
house do I choose from? I want this one, but I want this one. No. The market has been moving so fast. It's listed one day, gone the next. I had a home in the $400,000 range. We listed it that first day. We had 5 offers. The
Wow.
only reason why we didn't accept that first day was because my client was out of town.
Hmm.
But
You're like,
I know, even in the $400,000 range, there are multiple offer situations going on here. Um, it's really right under 200,000. That's where you're going to have a lot of buyers in that price point, a lot of buyers. So can you imagine you've got 20 offers on a home at $180,000, which offer is going to be best? And there's so many variables that you're bidding against. So that's kind of like what the market is right now, where there are multiple offers on homes.
so if I'm
Bidding
buying a
wars.
house right now, I can expect to have multiple offers. I can't go in trying to think I'm like master negotiator and I'm gonna, send a bit
Yeah,
under asking price. Or I
no.
want all this. I want some. What do they call it? Like closing costs. I'm gonna need some
Closing
money.
costs paid, yeah,
I need
no.
closing costs. All that. Those offers aren't getting it. Aren't cutting it. In
Some
a lot of ways.
are, some
Mhm.
are. It really just depends on what the seller's needs are, to be quite honest. As long as everything is meeting what the seller is needing, because sometimes it's the buyers that are being a little bit picky as well. But usually in a multiple offer situation, yeah, you're not negotiating closing costs in there at
Right.
all.
Sure.
You really want to find out how you can appeal to the seller, and if that seller needs a buyback and stay in their home after they close, then buyers are willing to do that for the sellers, and almost at a reduced rate is what it seems. But
So that would seem like it would be that's more stressful for the buyer's agent, this situation,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Because that's you, as a seller's agent, you love this situation where you're getting all these offers and then you can just pick and choose,
correct.
right? But
They come
as
to
the
you, yeah,
right, but as the buyer's agent, you're pulling out your hair because you're having to make your best offer, then have to wait till you get the offer, and then having to update contracts, like you said, on a whim because
hmm,
they want it yesterday, kind of situation.
correct. Um, as a buyer's agent, it hurts whenever if you lose in a multiple offer situation. If you lose in another multiple offer situation, it hurts because you're there with your client. You're in the
Hmm.
process with your client, and you see your client getting a little frustrated, discouraged, even, and you don't want them to feel that way. I truly believe that every home is meant for somebody specific, somebody in particular, and you kind of find your way to your home. And when you find that home that you win that multiple offer situation on, you move in, you realize why. And I've had clients tell me, oh my God, I'm so glad it was this one. I'm so glad they didn't accept our offer at that other home.
Yes, yes,
And
that's a good
those are,
attitude to have. Good
yes.
attitude to have because yeah, I've seen. I can imagine nobody likes to be let down, and on something like this, a house, you have so much emotionally invested When you're looking at it, you're thinking, the white picket fence. You can see yourself in the backyard barbecuing, all those different things you're already imagining, and then for it to come crumbling down, and for it to happen more than once. So I can see on your end, like you're saying, it takes a toll. It takes a toll on you as well. So, well, that's good. Before we end our episode today, Ashley, one, I just want to thank you for joining us on Jamin's Daily. Did you, let the folks know at home how they can get a hold of you? We'll put it on, on the green screen, your number or email, or if you have a Facebook page, Twitter, anything like that. Actually, you need to send me an email with all those things.
Yeah,
But,
I can send you that. So to get a hold of me, I answer phone calls, text messages at 210-906-9435. My email address is ashley.pena@exprealty.com. I do work with EXP, which means we don't have a brick and mortar office. So, and really realtors, we're always on the go. Our office is right here. It's our laptops, we have to be able to work on the whim. But yes, I also do have a Facebook page. Make sure you follow me. Look up Ashley Nicole Pena. My Facebook page is Ashley Pena Realtor. So follow me. I like to post updates, give stories. I don't know, all sorts of stuff. Random.
You do a great job. Your social media, your social media is on point. So it was why I needed to have you on our show. So when this show airs, you make sure you put it on blast on all your social media. Folks at home, have any real estate needs, questions, we're going to have that information so you can get a hold of Ashley. Once again, thank you for being our guest. Folks at home, thanks for sticking with us, because remember, the best is yet to come.